This is the farmhouse where I grew up, where my father grew up, where my grandfather grew up, where my great-grandfather grew up. The main house was built in 1860. We got electricity in 1943 with the Rural Electrification Act. And now what I am doing is I'm removing the majority of the 1960 updates and reverting the era back to somewhere between 1920 and 1950. I'm going to show you each room in the order that I did them years ago. While I am no more of a carpenter or a designer than any member of my family has ever been, I'm doing it to suit me and my tastes. Now, while every bedroom needs a bed, it also needs a nightstand beside the bed. It will hold magazines or a lamp to read by or whatever you want to put into it. So anyway, down at Madison Bouckville, I found this little stand. It wasn't exactly a bed stand, but it was quite tall. And because my bed is tall, I thought it might work, and I really fell in love with that curved drawer. It just looked nice. Little did I know that it wasn't quite so nice, and it was a parts as parts little stand. However, we fixed it, and I'll show you what I ended up doing to it. You can see I've got the drawer partially pulled out, and if you pull it out a little bit too far, that's what happens. It tips at almost a 40-degree angle and wants to fall out. So obviously something is wrong and it wasn't built right. And as you can see, some of the mortise and tenon is broke off. That's an easy fix. You see that white strip, you put the glue down the bottom along the edge and put the clamps to it. That will tighten it up, because I'm not that much of a carpenter that I can fix the broken mortise and tenon, but I can glue it back together. So then, to fix that drawer from falling out, I took some strips of pine, I think it was 3/4 by 3/4, and glued and brad nailed them into place. That's the left side that you see, and this is the right side. So now when the drawer slides out, it is held in position. And at the time, I couldn't figure out exactly why anybody would design that to work like that. Well, as we get into the video here a little bit more, you'll see where this is a parts as parts. They took a little bit of this, a little bit of that, cut out some stuff, stuck it together, screwed it together, and created this Frankenstein of a bedstand. However, I like the front of the drawer, so that's why I did the effort to make it work. So next I looked at the runners on the bottom, and you can see the left-hand side is severely chewed. Either that was soft or there was something very heavy on that side of the drawer, and it really ate into that runner. The other side looks pretty good. And like I did with my desk in the living room, I took that roll of HDPE tape, high-density polyethylene, and I put it on the runners, both top and bottom, so now the drawer slides in and out quite freely. Inside the drawer, if you look close, you can see that it appears to be February 6th of 1919. So part of that drawer has been around for quite a while. I sanded it. I did get rid of that 1919. Over in the far left corner, there was a stain of ink where a bottle of ink had tipped over, and you can see there's still a little bit left. And then I took my amber shellac and sealed the inside of the drawer. With the drawer turned over, you can see the ink that was not only on the inside, but it soaked through to the outside or the underside of the drawer. But being on the underside, I don't really care. But what we're looking at here, you can see that they took 2 wood screws to attach the front to that drawer. I don't think that front was ever supposed to be on that drawer. That's my guess anyway. Now here's a close-up. You can see that it is a period iron flathead wood screw. So it was done quite a while ago, that somebody took a bunch of parts and put it together to make something that would work. Now here you can see why they use the screws, because there is a crack in that front that I really like so much, all the way across. Obviously it has been screwed together and it's solid. It's just they didn't quite get it aligned, and you can see that crack, and I wasn't terribly happy about that. There's a close-up of it. It is very noticeable. As much as I didn't want to refinish that thing, because the finish wasn't bad, I sanded it all away, and now you can barely see the crack. So that is pretty good. So then I got lucky, because I bought some Varathane dark walnut wood stain, hoping that was going to be close to what the rest of the unit was, and it matched exactly, which said that it was refinished in the last few years or a decade or whatever, and they used a modern dark walnut wood stain, because I got it absolutely dead nuts on. Surprised me, because I am not very good with finishing. Now the top, you can see that it's built out of a couple pieces. If you look close, you can see where it's been nailed down instead of being attached from the bottom. So obviously those two pieces were not with the original stand. But it's on, it works, it's close enough. It is just a bed stand. So then you look at the bottom, kind of a stringer to hold the legs together. They took two pieces from some other piece of furniture, and if you notice, there's a gap on the left and a gap on the right. So what that tells me is they took it from something else, and it mostly fit, and they made it work. And there's a close-up. You can see that it's nailed on, and it's a good half-inch shy on both sides, but it holds the legs together, and that's what the person was shooting for. In the back, you can notice that the little backsplash, whatever you want to call it, that goes around the stand, it is not of the same wood, and you can actually see how the vertical grain or marking is from a saw. So they only finished the front and stuck it on and called it good. I've done that myself. On the side, where they attach the sides to the back, you can see they used screws again. I think these are newer screws, so it's very possible the stand did not ever have a top, and this was put on at a later date, and while they are flathead wood screws, they are newer. But the important thing is the height of it matches the tall mattress on the bed, and this gives you a little bit more true color of the drawer front. It does match the rest of the stand. So while it is a parts is parts, I'm quite happy with it that I was able to pick it up. I think I paid $65 for it, although she who must be obeyed thinks that I paid too much. But again, I really like that drawer. So that is my nightstand next to my tall bed in the bedroom renovation.